One peculiarity about Yu-Gi-Oh! That stuck out to me even as a kid was that the good guy used a monster called Black Magician, while his rival used a luminous white dragon. To the simple mind of a child, this shook everything I knew because literature and other forms of media typically represent goodness through light and evil through darkness. This example of defying conventional wisdom was largely a one-off though, because the final arc pits a dark creature born from the evil of mankind against the creator of light, so the orthodox world order was restored. Come the first spin-off, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX started off as stereotypical as can be. The main character, Reed Hero of the story, used a deck filled with superheroes and was a very embodiment of all things we value as good: courageous, fun-loving, and kind. Then came the second season where once again, conventional wisdom was flipped on its head.
Mr. Collector, meet the world's most powerful force, Dark Light.
You make no sense. How can light be dark?
His eyes are blind, like all the rest.
Let's open them.
Arguably, the biggest antagonist of GX isn't any of the characters we see, but the cosmic entity known as the Light of Destruction. This light wants to destroy the world in order to re-establish purity. To do so, it took control of various people throughout the series. This ultimately resulted in the creation of the Society of Light, a cult-like group comprised of almost all the students at Duel Academy. The Society of Light painted its dorm white, played a card called White Veil, wore white clothes, and heck, even the die-hard ones bleached their hair white, all symbolic attempts to paint the world white, i.e. purify it. Its members served Sayo, who himself was the lead person corrupted by the Light of Destruction to do its bidding. All this is pretty straightforward, but the spin on it was that this time, it wasn't a force of darkness driving the evil, it was a force of light, and that choice created a different kind of evil. Yes, the end goal of destroying mankind is the same as dark-based villains, but its motive for doing so, and the manner in which it went about that goal, differed vastly from a dark-oriented villain. For one, the motive was getting back to what is pure, and then the MO for that was brainwashing. This makes perfect sense for an evil light because its brilliance blinds people by making it so that the only thing they can see is the light. Like a white veil, it hides the truth behind that which appears to be pure, so people are more easily convinced that its motive is based in righteousness. And that alleged righteousness is easier to convey as a being of light. For example, if a being with white wings descended from the skies while at the same time a red being with horns erupted from the ground, who would you be more likely to take as a friend? The Light of Destruction preys on this conventional wisdom because people typically believe light is always holier than thou, that the thing of light, the thing that appears to be angelic or divine or pure, is the best of things, and everything else is an assault on that alleged purity. In the context of GX, when mankind stains the world with its impure tendencies, the Light of Destruction presents itself as the noble hero to clean these stains. In other words, it acts like it is justified in its attempts to destroy mankind and start anew. This is exactly how any propaganda machine works in our own world, where the leader of some group, or party, or religion, or nation convinces their following that their problems are due to what's out there, the unknown dark, so trust in what you can see, the light, and obey it. As humans, we crave light. It represents hope and happiness. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the shining sun providing us warmth, or the brilliant moon in otherwise darkness. All these qualities of light make it a dangerous force if blindly followed, because as the Light of Destruction proved, even light can be evil.
Life draws its energy from the balance of light and dark, but the Light of Destruction threatens to tip the balance.
So how do I even things out?
You must fight the light with darkness.
In GX lore, two forces push and pull in the greater cosmos, light and dark. But unlike typical mythologies or origin stories you may read, or heck even real-life physics and biology, in the case of GX, it is the dark, specifically the gentle darkness, that fosters life. And it is the light, specifically the Light of Destruction, that wants to destroy life. This defiance of conventional wisdom serves as the background struggle in Season 3 of GX. This is the season where we learn that Judai is a reincarnation of the Supreme King, a being that has the ability to wield the gentle darkness in order to save the world by destroying the Light of Destruction. Yubel, the primary antagonist of the third season, was tasked with helping Judai to harness this power. But when Yubel was sent into space, they collided with the Light of Destruction, corrupting them into a being that nearly destroyed the world. Judai was able to save Yubel by fusing their two souls together. As he states, the soul of Supreme King Judai will move into you to expel the Light of Destruction that's twisting your spirit. Even if that destroys the person I am now, I don't mind. Judai's decision was another point for darkness in its everlasting fight against the light, freeing Yubel from the destructive force. But how exactly did he manage to do this? By defying another piece of stereotype associated with darkness, which is that power leads to evil. This is the basic premise of the Supreme King portion of the arc, where darkness has overtaken Judai to the point that he is unaliving his friends and entire communities one by one with his newfound power, under the presumption that only power can defeat power. We see it all the time in our world today too. Someone becomes super rich or famous or comes into some other form of power, and people comment that they let that power or fame or money go to their head, that they're not the same person they used to be, that power corrupted them. Another way to put it, selling your soul to the devil. You give up the good in you for power in exchange for now embodying darkness that corrupts your every move, amplified by said power. Skipping forward to a quote from Season 4, Sayo during his duel with Judai states, "You cannot struggle against the allure of power. Judai, as one who was once blinded by the Supreme King's power, you should know that better than anyone." To which Judai responds, "I haven't given in to the allure of power. By accepting power, I truly understood. Power doesn't exist to sate your hunger. It exists to achieve a greater cause." Judai here defies the conventional wisdom that power leads a person down a dark road by realizing in his duel with Yubel that the power of darkness is exactly what he needs to harness to do good. Hence, gentle darkness. Manjome says as such when speaking to show that the reason Judai is suffering is because he hasn't snapped out of that childlike kindness of his. To defeat Yubel, he has to cast aside the kindness and harness his true strength. Unless he revives the Supreme King, Judai can't win. I harken back to myself as a child, who believed that light is always good. As Manjome hits on here, Judai is being childlike in his belief that kindness is an absolute good and power is an absolute bad. Once again, these tried and true good qualities, like kindness, are being tested as insufficient. A stark contrast from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yugi's kindness overcomes dark magic over and over. Here in GX, we continue to see that qualities associated with darkness, like power, are just as important for accomplishing good and thwarting evil. All of what I said makes Season 4 seem like a reversal of everything the writers built up in the previous seasons. In this season, the main antagonist is Darkness, or Night Shroud as he's called in English, a being born from the darkness within people. On first watch, I felt like GX goofed it up by basically recreating Zork. Having the embodiment of darkness, down to him being named Darkness, serve as the ultimate villain of the show seemed uninspired, boring, and cliché. It also left open-ended Judai's final fight against the Light of Destruction. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense for Darkness to serve as the final villain. One of the two reasons I'll talk about in part 2 of Life Lessons from GX, but the reason I want to share in this video relates to the dichotomy of light versus dark. Darkness is very much a walking stereotype. He is nihilistic in his view of mankind, he represents the death of hope, and he preys on the fears and anxieties people have of the future. This allows him to draw those people into an abode called the World of Darkness where they don't need to fear because there is no hope, there is no future. How does this all relate back to the Light of Destruction?
我は救世主。
何が救世主だ。他人の記憶を消し、無理やりお前の世界に引きずり込んだくせに。
While Darkness doesn't necessarily want to destroy mankind, if he gets his way, mankind will essentially exist as shells, which isn't an existence at all. So for all intents and purposes, both the Light of Destruction and Darkness want to end the world. But as explained throughout the video, their motives and approach to that end goal vary greatly. And not only does it vary greatly, but they are exact opposites, despite having the same objective in mind. Let's go down the list. 1. Light and dark both have blinding effects, but the light blinds you with its brilliance, making it too bright to see, whereas the dark blinds you because we can't see in the dark. 2. Light and dark both kill individuality, but the light does so by brainwashing people into one collective, whereas the dark shrouds your hopes and dreams until everyone is a shell. 3. Light and dark both lead to loneliness, but the light does so by turning your loved ones against you, whereas the dark does so by stripping your loved ones from you. This is punctuated by how against the Light of Destruction, Judai has to deal with friends being brainwashed into the society, whereas against the dark, Judai has to deal with his friends disappearing into darkness. 4. Light and dark both recalibrate a person's purpose, but the light coerces you into its way of thinking, which makes you believe you are doing right. whereas the dark makes you believe what you are doing is pointless, thus coercing you into its way of thinking. This is seen by how the light of destruction emboldens people toward one collective mission of destroying the world and painting it white, whereas darkness makes people give up on their own personal missions and paints the world black. 5. Light and dark both have disdain for mankind's actions, but the light disparages humanity for its tendency to destroy, whereas the dark discourages humanity from its attempts to build. And finally, 6. Light and dark represent opposite ends of mankind's history. The light represents purity before mankind ruined it, which is why the light of destruction wants to start anew by destroying existence, or as it states, I will restore them to whiteness. Whereas the dark represents the end result of mankind destroying itself, or as it states, darkness is humanity's future. So despite these 6 differences in their motive and approach, their end goal is still very much the same. But in turn, so is the way to conquer each force. As stated by Judai, defeating similarly, the light of destruction was defeated by Judai defying the destiny ordained by Sayo, or to put another way, believing in his potential to carve out a future where mankind thrives despite what the light ordained.
I fuse my spirit with Yubel's!
The conventional wisdom of light is good and dark is bad is no wisdom at all. But neither is putting all your belief in the gentleness of the dark and the destructiveness of the light. Both extremes attack our hearts and minds in different ways, but the end result is the same, that the extremes will destroy us. Judai realized this lesson when he was finally able to balance his kindness and sympathy with the power of the Supreme King, thus harnessing the gentle darkness and freeing Yubel from the influence of the light of destruction. And that brings me to the ultimate conclusion of it all. Our world is filled with opposing forces. Certainly tangible ones like hot and cold, but perhaps more importantly, the intangible. The concepts and principles that govern our lives. Work and leisure, kindness and power, hope and fear, mercy and justice, and of course, light and dark. The key to unlocking the potential of all of these things? Balance. Light balances dark just as dark balances light. When the extreme of dark encroaches upon you, you need light to believe in a brighter tomorrow. And when the extreme of light blinds you, you need dark to dim that brilliance and see clearly again. Our hopes and dreams are like a star guiding us through the dark, and our mistakes may make us impure, but they make each and every one of us unique. Between the purity of light and the world of darkness is our existence as humans, an existence that is not stained by our mistakes, but beautified by them, and our ability to continue believing despite our shortcomings. And it is only through balancing the gentle darkness with the light of hope that we can achieve our greatest potential.